Hi there, Fox. So today we're going to talk about physical properties. Um, and so remembering that matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. Um, so pure substances may look like, individual atoms. Compounds might have, atoms that are bonded together. A mixture would have atoms and molecules kind of all mixed together. So, for example, air. Okay, air is a mixture. Okay, um, but it's the amount of space, right, and the fact that they have mass that makes each of these things matter. Okay, so when matter combines in a distinctive and consistent manner, maintaining a stable composition, it is called a substance. Okay, when matter combines in a distinctive and consistent manner. So what that means is if um, if you have a bunch of matter, if um, if the way that it's combined is consistent, that means it has some sort of pattern, um, and it has to be distinctive. So, for example, salt, right? You can distinguish salt by looking at the atoms that are put together and how they're put together. Okay. Same with like pure water. It's always oxygen and two hydrogens, and they all come close together. That kind of thing. Okay. Substances can be identified by examining their physical properties. Okay. Physical properties are characteristics that can be observed or measured without changing the sample's composition. In other words, you can look at it and observe its color. You can measure its length and width without breaking it. You can measure the volume. You can measure the mass. You can measure the pressure, right? If it's a gas, you can measure the pressure. You can tell if there's an odor, right? You don't mix it with anything, right? You're just doing that particular substance. Okay. Um, its state, solid, liquid, or gas, that is a physical property. Even though sometimes a solid melts, that is not breaking bonds or putting things together or making something new, right? It is just going from solid substance to liquid substance. It stays the same thing, right? Ice is water in solid form. Water is water in liquid form, right? It hasn't changed. It's just called something different. Okay. Melting and boiling points, those are physical properties. The density of the density is something you can measure, so that would be a physical property. Hardness, how hard is it? Can you bend it? Can you, if you hit it with a hammer, will it break apart? And then conductivity. Conductivity is like if I put electricity through it, will the electricity go through? So if I take two wires um, and I put electricity through it and I have a light bulb, if the light bulb turns on, then it's conductive. Okay. So here's an example. It's salt. Salt, it is a solid at room temperature. Um, the color is white. It doesn't really have an odor. It tastes salty. Okay. Um, its solubility is the salt is highly soluble in water. In other words, if I take the salt and put it in water, it just disappears. Um, The melting point is 801 degrees Celsius. The density is 2.17 grams per centimeter cubed. The hardness, salt is a relatively brittle substance, so if you take a hammer and you hit it, it's going to break apart. And it does, if it's in liquid form, it does conduct electricity. Okay? So that is physical properties. So it's really important that you understand the difference between physical properties and chemical properties. Physical properties are things that you can observe or measure without doing any changes. You're not doing any chemical reactions. You're not changing it in any way. You're just observing it. Okay? All right. So, go Hawks.